Peace, peace. If you don't know, you tune in to that newest voice for Black Liberty, doing it for the people, to the people themselves. I'm King Quent, heard it brother and comrade Lord, and our interviewer, the related CEO, aka Queen X. Foremost, let me give a shout out to our Emotion Nation, the talk of the with the Z if you ain't know that. Giving us this soapbox and this megaphone we do. And when we listen to Coach, you gotta know you're getting there, because all we got to lose is us. And by the end of it, hopefully you can say the same. We're going to get today's show going. Martin Luther King Day, rapping to a specific question and doing something real detailed. We're going to dedicate the show to Martin and his legacy and what it means for us here at 21. So before I slide this mic over to my serious, let him with whatever he got on his mind. I got a little something on my mind. Now, I don't know if y'all know, but I'm the father of 4 children, actually 3 girls. And the other day, my second oldest daughter, 12, I asked, like, do she know anything in the world? And you know, she would change something. And she shocked me, because I think my daughter's shallow for real, y'all. She shocked me and was like, yeah, Daddy, I do. So I'm like, what's wrong with the world? And she said racism. I said, oh, now y'all know me. Y'all know I'm, racism? What's racism? She said, well, it's when white people discriminate against black people. See, then she got a little smart. She said, hold on, that wasn't enough. She said, it's when non-colored people discriminate on colored people. So I was tripping. So I'm like, okay, well, baby, what does it even mean to be black? Like, what is that? And she's like, I don't know. And right there in that moment, it was like, whoa, hold on. What you mean you don't know mean to be black? And she was like, I don't know. It's just, I'm black. My parents black. We black. Like, but what is that? What is black, though? What does it even mean? Is that a race? She's like, yeah, it's a race. I'm like, well, what's a race? I don't know. And I don't know if I was reaching or I was doing too much, but in that moment I started thinking like, hold on, something ain't right here. But we keep going on with the conversation. And we come back to racism. And I'm like, well, do racism still exist? She's like, yeah. Well, give me an example of racism. I don't know. Hold on. What you mean you don't know? You said it still exists, right? Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think I ever experienced it. So now I'm thinking like, hold on, here we go again. These are some questions. These are some things that I feel like as a people, you know, these moments speak to how we are as a people, like our identity as black people. What is that? You know what I'm saying? What is our conception or our perception of what racism really is? Because if you tuned in last week and y'all caught our show on white supremacy and what it means for us, you should know now. Like, all right, but before we get into all of that, because y'all know we're going to build later, we're just going to get y'all vibe right, man. We play a little music, set our intentions, set our frequencies, open ourselves up to this. So I'm about to give you that New Islam by me, Quent 100, off the Black Messiah Project. Y'all check that out. Stay tuned and come back for the culture. Peace.
Them crackers took my mind. I think I lost my mind. Now I don't want to find it. I think I lost my mind. Them crackers took my mind. Don't let them take your mind. I think I lost my mind, but I don't wanna find it, and I won't tell no lies. My every word be binded, put my name on the line, right by that X and sign it on. I self-floor and master, me I am God and guidance. I've been on my grind, searching outside of myself for the things that I want, like them dollar signs. A bitch with ass, a fat you can see from the front, and a foreign ride, so I can look right in your eyes when I pull up and stunt. Now I just don't give a fuck. No, that won't give me love. No, that shit can't give me peace. No, it can't give me back marble or freak. No, it can't take all that hate from the streets or take the hatred outside of police. Put it into generational beef. It's hard to forgive when niggas get killed. You gotta lay in the bed that you made, and they got some stains on their sheets. My brother's in prison, I pray you released. Once you get out, you burn your receipt. If you catch a charge like a credit card, they taking life as a minimum fee. Say we owe a debt to society, but life ain't free. Never been cheap, and they never paid us. Whole slavery. I think these motherfuckers owe me. I think I lost my mind, but I don't wanna find it, and I won't tell no lies. My every word be binded, put my name on the line, right by the X and sign it on. I said floor and master, me I am God and guidance on. Think I lost my mind, but I don't wanna find it, and I won't tell no lies. My every word be binded, put my name on the line, right by the X and sign it on. I said floor and master, me I am God and guidance on. My niggas trapped in the trap, I know that you wanna be free. You wanna be free. Keep stacking that drug money, I pray that it become a key to open the door and let an opportunity for you to build up a better community. Enough of the jewelry, all of the foolery, that shit is rented, boy, you are not fooling me. I don't care how much ice you got, you ain't cool as me. If these crackers make you a tool of slave, cause they ain't using me. I defy them beautifully, start a riot through the street. Fuck the lifestyles of the rich and famous, bitch, I ain't robbing leech. This ain't even about the money, would do this shit for free. Should charge your arm and leg, arm, head, cause that's who I be. And it's deeper than you think, I might need to post a meme. Like Nipsey Hussle was Black Jesus, both died at 33. Whoa.
My mother said, they're gonna get you. I said, but Mom, why are they gonna get me? Because you must remember that you live in a society that supports a certain philosophy and a certain system. You being the color that you are, black, and then you're going against the grain, they're gonna get you.
Remember, I ain't had nobody, couldn't call nobody, was a lone body. You don't know the feeling having nobody. Struggling, trying to make a home probably, but I really don't need nobody. I don't see nobody, cause I am the body. I don't trust nobody, 2 middle fingers up, so now it's just fuck everybody. Auntie say she gon' pray for me. I told her auntie need a paid lawyer with a Range Rover, push the ring over. I do the same for you, that's real talk. Die for what I believe in, though with the church and trusting them heathens. Hit for a reason, yo, I'm here for a reason.
Here for a reason, my nigga. Okay, we back. And if you just caught up, you listening to For the Culture, the newest voice in black liberation. Doing it for the people so the people can do it for themselves. Today, in honor of MLK Day, we're discussing Dr. King's legacy and what it means for us here in the 21st century. My brother Lord Serious about to step up to the mic and share his thoughts with you. I'm sure it's going to be powerful and thought-provoking, so if you ain't got your pen and paper already, you need to go and get it. Matter of fact, you're going to have to download the show later because we ain't got that type of time. All right, G. Here go the mic. Do your thing. Peace.
You know, when MLK was alive, white America hated him. They called him an agitator and a radical. They threw rocks at him. They sicked dogs on him. They turned water hoses on him. They harassed him and repeatedly sent death threats to him and his family. They threw him in jail. And then the white man finally took his life by murdering him in cold blood on April the 4th, 1968. Now white America gives this black man a national holiday. They erect a monument of his likeness in Washington, D.C. They teach us as children to memorize his I Have a Dream speech. And we foolishly accept these purely symbolic gestures as payment in full for our racial suffering. But in my opinion, white America does not honor MLK's legacy with any of these things. If white America wanted to honor that black man's legacy as an integrationist, they would enforce the Civil Rights Act and convict the white police officers who shot and killed Breonna Taylor and Jacob Blake. If white America truly intended to honor MLK's legacy, they will put a stop to gerrymandering and voter suppression. Until white America stops these evil practices, they should keep MLK's name out their mouth. They do not honor his legacy or the Voting Rights Act he fought for, because these are the very tactics white America uses to disenfranchise blacks in America by impeding our access to the ballot and undermining our collective ability to make our community's voice heard through our right to vote. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy has never been honored by this country. America has been making a mockery of this man's legacy, and I'm ashamed to admit it. But the reason this has been happening is because blacks are too ignorant to know the difference. They never celebrate his bread basket program, his poverty program, his fight for poor people's access to fair housing, and his opposition to the war in Vietnam. The real legacy of MLK goes largely ignored, and instead, the government and mainstream media tells us his legacy peaked at the I Have a Dream speech. And he could be summed up as an integrationist who believed that the nonviolent civil disobedience was the only way blacks would make real racial progress in America. Those who really know the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., we know that he had doubts about whether integration was the best path forward for blacks living in America. He said, I fear that I may have led my people into a burning house. Right before his death, he began to understand that the fight for integration was a futile one. He realized that northern whites were even more racist than the southern whites. And had MLK lived long enough to see that the Civil Rights Act and Voting Rights Act were useless pieces of paper, I think MLK would have grown even closer to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he would have adopted even more of Elijah's black man do for self rhetoric. But because you only know the aspect of MLK's legacy that the white man teaches you through his public school system and mainstream media, you are not knowledgeable enough to challenge white America on why they selectively choose to only highlight his civil rights legacy from the Montgomery bus boycott to his march on Washington. As we grow older, we become wiser and learn from our mistakes, and MLK was no different. Fighting for civil rights in the South may have been his claim to fame, but this political strategy was powerless to challenge or change the racial hierarchy in America. But when MLK began consulting with Elijah Muhammad and his focus changed from civil rights to human rights, when he stopped asking for racial equality and started demanding equal access to resources and wealth, this is what made MLK a threat that needed to be neutralized by white America, and this is what got him killed. If America truly wanted to honor MLK's legacy with a national holiday, then they should make it a day of mourning. They should fly the American flag at half-staff and offer a moment of silence. But this nation tells us it honors his legacy by giving him a federal holiday. They honor him by giving all government employees a day off of work. This wicked government can relax on MLK Day because our black messiah was killed. The black leader who fought to liberate us from the white man's oppression was assassinated, and the government made MLK Day its national holiday to serve as a warning to any other black male who dares to have a dream of being a liberator of his people. This is the kind of dream that will get you killed in America. The problem is black people do not understand the nature of our enemy. When you are ignorant of certain cultural customs as an alien, you sometimes get made a fool of. When you're an outsider, you may find yourself being the butt of an inside joke, and you'll never catch on to what's so funny until someone tells you. So let me tell you, black man, why the white man is laughing at you. The white man is a big game hunter, and after killing a buck, he melts the head on his wall. After shooting a grizzly with his rifle, the white man will place this animal's body next to his fireplace inside his den. The white man is a bloodthirsty savage, and he puts his murders on display for the entire world to see by making a trophy out of the things he kills. And I declare that the black man in America gets treated no differently by the white race. All you have to do is take a trip to your local post office and police station. How many black heads do you think you'll see mounted on those walls? So when I say that instead of America honoring MLK's legacy, they've actually been making a mockery of it, and blacks are too ignorant to know the difference. This is what I mean. Please Google the MLK monument in Washington, D.C., and you'll see with your own two eyes how they mock him. After being murdered by the white man, they now want us to believe they are, quote, unquote, honoring Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy by making him the biggest white trophy in America. Martin Luther King Jr. was a patriot. He loved the concept of America and the ideals it professed to represent. The problem is America could never and will never live up to its potential. For so long, this corrupt nation has put on a masquerade. It portrays itself as being its moral authority, and white privilege gives whites a sense of entitlement, which they believe is their license to police the world. Well, on January the 6th, 2021, America got exposed to what it was and what it's always been: a fraud, a liar, an uncivilized nation of hypocrites. President Trump and his Confederates have shown the world who this nation truly is. The mythical colorblind zebra has never been a native species of North America. The color barrier separating blacks from whites ensures that this zebra will never change its stripes. If it appeared to the leaders of the nations of the world that America had the moral high ground, it was only because you were unaware this world was spinning on its axis through a cosmic low tide. But now, I say to black people around the world, what you are witnessing take place here in the wilderness of North America is the first of many signs to come that will inform the original people that the tides have changed. This nation of white blood-thirsty savages are about to drown in their own blood. All of the blood they spilled would not go unpunished, and now they must repay their karmic debt with the blood of their very own fathers, their sons, and their brothers. Lord Serious is telling black America to stand back This is not our fight. This civil war is divine judgment and chastisement for all of their wickedness. I know some of you love your slave masters, and you leap at any and every opportunity to risk your life to save theirs. But if the white race wanted to be saved by us, then they would have listened to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They should have listened to the minister, Malcolm X, because these two men were the two witnesses prophecy to come in the book of Revelations. These two opposite ends of the spectrum represented the complexity of America's race problem and class problem. And these two men were the greatest black patriots that this nation has ever had. They challenged the white man to be a better neighbor, a better steward, and a better human being. These men were the Socrates and Aesop of this Western Empire, and they each met the same fate. They all were killed by the same white societies they were trying to improve. However, there's a major difference between us. In this cosmic age, what will be produced is a different kind of black leadership. The black teachers of truth who come to you as warners are not coming to improve the white race of civilization. No. Unlike the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we no longer have any hope that the white race will one day change. And we are no longer waiting for the white man to do for us, but we have the God-given right to do for ourselves. Unlike the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I don't give a damn if America burns, or if white America accepts my blackness. Unlike the civil rights leaders, the black leaders who are fighting against mass incarceration and police brutality do not have the luxury of being patriotic. So I give all praise due to MLK. But blacks in America do not need his leadership to waste time trying to convert whites into allies. Blacks living in America need his leadership to prepare black people for what happens when the white nations of the world cut off their noses to spite their fates. They need leadership that will prepare them for what happens when the white domestic terrorists succeeds in destabilizing this government and the American empire falls. I think MLK was America's equivalent to Noah. He was a man who warned the wicked white majority that they should turn away from their violent ways, but they mocked him. I think MLK was prophetic in understanding that if this nation did not eradicate racism and white supremacy, that these evils would bring about the demise of the entire democracy. MLK warned the people that the flood was coming, but they mocked him and continued in their wickedness. Martin Luther King's entire life's work was dedicated to building the art to save America. But there is no saving America. It was the black minority in this country who performed the heavy lifting and manual labor to build an art that could save all Americans. So we picked up our hammers, nails, and wood by performing sit-ins, boycotts, and marches. And all the while, the violent white majority laughed and mocked us for it. But now the time has come for the black minority to board the ship and seal the door behind us. And we have been divinely instructed to keep that door sealed until white supremacy's reign of terror has ended and its accompanying flood of misery has receded. Our Noah knew that he might not make it to the mountaintop with us because the violent white majority wanted to kill him. Our Noah was murdered before he could show us how we should live amongst each other and how we should treat each other while on this ark. Our Noah was taken from us before he had the opportunity to teach us how we should build a new and better world after the flood is over. We are venturing into a new phase within our people's struggle for liberation, and there will be a time, sometime in the future, where the wicked and violent white majority will no longer rule over this land. MLK had to teach blacks how to survive with them, but I have come to teach blacks how to survive without them. This is why I'm instructing blacks to prepare for the upcoming reign of terror and its flood of misery. White supremacy is destroying America from the inside out, just as MLK predicted it would. And blacks need to understand that all we have to do is stay in our ark. And after surviving the storm of America's second civil war, we will exit the ark as a new nation, free from that wicked white majority. Peace.
Okay. That was the guy, Lord Serious, my brother and committed activist, speaking truth to power like only he know how. You want to hear more from the God? Check out his website, www.LordSeriousSpeaks.com, and pick up his new book, Apotheosis. It's on sale right now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and any other online retailer. Listen, if y'all was at all moved by our brother words, be sure that you check out his petition, circulating on change.org. You can search for Lord Serious or under his Honorable James Boughton Jr. Boughton, that's B-O-U-G-H-T-O-N, and add your name to a list of supporters. Because y'all know we need Lord Serious and all of our other freedom fighters up out of these plantations. Yeah, I know that 13th Amendment ain't just abolish slavery. It only changed some of the rules of the game. So look, we're going to play some music, have a little break, and give y'all some time to digest all that food for thought. But don't go too far. You're listening to For the Culture, live on Talk of the Streetz Entertainment. It's King Quent. Peace.
Peace, God.
How can you say you love God?
Peace, God.
Whom you
Spent a lot of
have
time searching outside for what lies within.
and hate
Peace,
your
God.
brother.
But over time I found that peace was never crowned in the smiles of men. Peace.
What James and Jesus are saying is,
Gotta forgive myself.
Jesus said, as you've done unto the least of these, you've done it also unto me. Because whatever you worship in Jesus Christ,
gotta forgive
that same
myself.
essence is a part of every one of you. Yes.
Forgive me for them lies that was told. Forgive me for mama tears, she crying cause I'm gone. Forgive me for my niggas that would ride to the songs. I ain't know what I was doing. Ain't mean to steer you wrong. I couldn't see myself. Forgive me for being blind. When I opened my eyes for knowing and not applying. Was never satisfied. All I wanted was some change, not a penny to my name. Forgive me for selling dimes. Forgive me for them whys that I couldn't figure out. But still down the ride with a mind full of doubt. Forgive me for my pride and my push for the power. I don't do it now. I'ma feel like a coward. Forgive me for current. Gotta show them that I'm about it. I know I got a child. Forgive me for being childish. Forgive me for it all. I ain't know what I was doing. Forgive me for being human. Peace, God.
The prostitute, the drug addict, the derelict, the wino, the brother that never went to school, the sister that refused to go. I say the same thing that you worship in Jesus Christ. Yes, the same essence is in every one of you.
Forgive me for this hatred in my heart, but they hate me cause I'm dark. Built slave ships bigger than the ark. Couldn't show me the way. Forgive me for getting lost in the field where they play with them sticks like the cross. And across the street from beef and cold hearts, only peace I saw was in the teeth of sharks. Forgive me, mama, for having them dark thoughts, but they cut the lights off. I'm trying to be the spark. Forgive me for the times that I stumble. Forgive me for my arrogance. I try to be humble. Forgive me when I'm selfish. You know I got my struggles. Forgive me for spacing out my mind like the hopeless. Forgive me for my weakness. Forgive me for my demons. Forgive me for my fears and all the reasons for my secrets. Forgive me for my birds. Still love them though they leeching. This world is speak the truth. And like Judas to my Jesus. Peace, God.
You didn't hear me. Yes, yes, no. Yes, and that's why James said, yes, say, how can you say you love God whom you have never seen? Yes, and hate your brother whom you see every day.
Forgive me for being cursed and not protecting the earth or ever knowing her worth, treating her like dirt. Every time I be lazy and start neglecting my work. Forgive me for the ones I hurt and all of the time I search, trying to find my worth for the weed and the wine, trying to calm my nerves. I just need some time trying to find the words. I heard they shot up a church. Peace, God. I'm just trying to find peace, God. Pray the flow, open the door like a key card. I saw them cutting the cake and I want a piece, God. Gotta roll the dice against these odds. Forgive me for having doubts. Forgive me for just throwing that towel and walking out. But now I go within for what I'm without. And when I see my G's, we shout. Peace, God.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it a little different, but it's the same principle. He said every time I look at a black man, I am looking at God. I understand. When I think of the pain she's felt, all alone, trying to pray for help, I blame myself. Real shit, bro, I should've never left. But since I can't change my steps, I blame myself. Things done to obtain the wealth, the lives we lost, the tears we wept. I blame myself. I just played the hand they dealt, but in the end, I blame myself. And I blame myself. Still ain't forgave myself. Still ain't forgave myself. God. Try to focus on what I can change myself, but in the end, I blame myself. Peace, God. Still ain't forgave myself. Still ain't forgave myself. Peace, God. Try to focus on what I can change myself, but in the end, I blame myself. Peace, God.
Alright, we back. This for the culture, and I'm your host, King Quent. You know, we coming to you live this Friday, Martin Luther King Day. Let me say, man, you know, first and foremost, I want to give all praise and respect to Reverend King and all my ancestors that were willing to fight for our freedom. You know, it's been about 53 years now since he was assassinated, and a lot has been said about him and his legacy. A lot of people criticize him for his nonviolent stance. And I understand where they're coming from. But just because I wouldn't necessarily have been a part of that movement doesn't mean I can't respect the people that were. And I definitely can't say that they were followers of a cowardly philosophy, because it takes a different type of courage to submit yourself willfully to being beaten, to police dogs, high pressure water hoses, to almost being killed, you know, for a freedom that you might not even live to see. So no, I can't say they were soft, you know what I'm saying? But if anything, I believe that the people that participated in that movement were suffering from the same type of misguidance that I see in a lot of these gang members today. Like, these gang members, these kids are the most courageous and brave warriors in the world, but they following a flawed leadership with an even worse program. And that's how I see the philosophy and program of integration and assimilation. So I don't want to really get into the specifics of Dr. King tonight or the tactics he used. I just want to talk about the era of us continuing to believe that assimilation and integration are the ways that we should continue our fight for freedom now in this 21st century. See, they want us to believe that marching, protesting, singing, and begging be treated like human beings, like that's what we should still be doing. They tell us that every time around this time of year. You know, they get to talking about the marches on Selma and the Million Man, well, not the Million Man March, but y'all know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they come at us with. But we have to remember that that's not all Dr. King was. And his legacy has been tainted and co-opted by that same system that never really wanted liberty for him or his people in the first place. It's the white supremacist system that killed him. And then they're going to turn around and use his martyrdom to legitimize his commitment to us so they can make us believe that he was the best or like the epitome of leadership. They made him the poster child for nonviolence after they killed him. They screamed for peace after they killed him. They hated King while he was alive because they couldn't control him. But in his death, he could be controlled. And so after they killed him, they painted his policy of assimilation and integration as the best and most loving, powerful methodology for us to follow. And they did that in response to the growing militancy and violent tendencies that were starting to arise within our communities. You kind of think after King died, he was assassinated April 4th, 1968. After that, SNCC, them same kids that was doing their sit-ins at the counter, they start getting tired of this nonviolence. They start getting tired of it. Then in the 70s, you had the Panthers coming around. Don't forget, we got the NOI on the scene. You know, so they was trying to really quell that real revolutionary fire that was growing within us as a people. And they did it by taking the legacy of one of our heroes, one of our martyrs, and repackaging it to the point where Dr. King became a "I have a dream" slogan, and you know, a nice Southern country drawl, you know. But they stripped him of his economic restructuring program and his multiracial coalition building. And that's the King we need. We don't need the marching, singing King. Those are not the type of kings we need to become. Integration and assimilation is not what we need. Right now, we need unity. We need to come together and do for ourselves. See, Dr. King was a Christian preacher first. And as a Christian preacher, he believed that the suffering of Jesus Christ was the epitome of love for people, for sinners, people who didn't deserve God's love at all. And that's the same way he felt that black people should look at America, like a country that didn't deserve our love at all. But as a Christian preacher, he urged us to follow the same pattern that Jesus followed, to turn the other cheek, to resist nonviolently, to pray for our enemies, and to appeal to white people's sense of morality and as the supposed Christians that they were supposed to be. But see, what I think Dr. King missed is that when Jesus was telling those Jews to turn the other cheek, he wasn't telling them to turn the other cheek in relation to the Romans. He was telling his people to forgive each other and to come together for themselves. If you read those scriptures closely, you will see that as a social activist, Jesus moved out on the philosophy of Jewish nationalism. He was first and foremost concerned with his own people. He never said the Jewish people was to try to be like the Romans or try to assimilate or integrate into Roman society. He told them, give unto Caesar what's Caesar's and give unto God what's God's. And the Jews saw themselves as God's chosen people. So he was telling his people, never forget who you are. Always do for yourself and depend on us, and our God, not the Romans who have been our oppressors. And today, we will be wise to do the same. Black people, we the original people, and our people are by nature holistic and peaceful people. We live in harmony with life, each other, nature, God. We don't separate ourselves from nothing. But the Western world is the opposite. Its nature is segregation. But assimilation thinking don't recognize this. Integrationist philosophy denied it. Rather than admitting that truth, it would rather dismiss the reality of our ethnicity and our cultural backgrounds and downplay and deny the racial and cultural differences that we see. But for what? To make black people into white people and dark skin? See, the assimilation is see the world, or the white world that is, as the epitome of civilization and culture. It's like they white supremacists subconsciously. And so they would rather make us fit into this system rather than really change the system. But the system is not for us. That's like trying to force circles into squares. Even if it happens, there's going to be a whole lot of chips and things missing. It's never going to be the same. And even Dr. King himself admitted that he feared he had integrated his people into a burning house. Well, look at what these flames have done to our communities. Become like living hell. We've lost our culture, our sense of direction, our principles, our dignity. And for what? To live like white people. Ain't that what assimilation really means? To be allowed to live like white people. To be in a big house with masters. Is that what we want? Because the thing is, even if you're in that big house, you're still in the plantation. See, I believe that if Dr. King had lived longer, he would have abandoned that assimilationist thinking. You know, I feel like Dr. King would have moved towards black power and black nationalism because he was already on his way there. Before his death, he had called for a complete restructuring of the American economy. A complete restructuring is revolution. Now, when the system resisted and when they appealed to the racial fears of whites, as they always do, when that multiracial coalition of people he was calling for had fell apart, what would have been left for him to do? The same man that had helped organize the Montgomery Boys boycott, that was the epitome of do for self activism. What do you think King would have did? If he was alive, he would have been an advocate of what we doing now. He probably would have been with Emotion Nation. I ain't right. King would have been on his podium, giving one of the moving speeches, convincing us with that poetic speak of his that we need unity for power, for peace, and for protection. King would have been standing next to me right now, telling y'all to come together and do for self. He would not be against marching and protesting, but he would make sure that all of that marching and protesting would be followed up by public action and social programming, by methods and demands that was going to solve our problems and not just serve as another Band-Aid or another media soundbite. The time has come for us to come together and to work to solve our problems. I believe if King feared that he had integrated us into a burning house, we need to ask ourselves, are we just going to be consumed by the flames? Or are we going to get the hell out and save ourselves? Assimilation will want us to stay in and try to throw water on the flames. But Emotion Nation say, let's just get out the house and go and build our own. With that, I'm peace, man.
Murder. I think they all trying to murder me. I heard the streets screaming murder. I think they all trying to murder me. Murder. But I won't break and I won't fold. On my crown, nigga, I'm gon' roll. Fuck my foes, never sell my soul. I hold it down 2 feet 10 toes. Until they murder me. I heard the streets screaming murder. Murder. I probably die for all of this shit that I'ma say. Take a shot right to my face inside my drop like JFK. Or the crooked CIA gon' have somebody cut my brakes. Or they probably infiltrate and have me killed by my own rage. Yup, this can be my fate. Yup, these are just mistakes. Well, we all got our date. I just embrace what I can't escape. Yep, right around the corner. Them corners never safe. No matter which way you turn, that's why I never turn away. And this world so full of hate, better keep one on your waist. Cause if it ain't the police, it's greed, envy, jealousy. My niggas never been free. Who Lincoln emancipate? See them targeting my race. Out in Charlotte with no brakes. Motherfucker P.O. I'm riding strapped every day. I know these crackers scared. See them loading up their caves. Training for a war. ARs by the gate. Cause in America, KKK ain't no nigga ever safe. I heard the streets screaming murder. I think they all trying to murder me. I heard the streets screaming murder. I think they all trying to murder me. But I won't break and I won't fold. On my crown, nigga, I'm gon' roll. Fuck my foes, never sell my soul. I hold it down 2 feet 10 toes until they murder me. I heard the streets screaming murder. I probably died cause he hating for no reason. Or died cause he lied, said I committed treason. Died cause of pride and some petty disagreement. Died cause his God told him I'm a disbeliever. Died cause he was a bitch nickel and I teased him. Died when we ride and fame first to squeeze him. Died for just being outside on the wrong evening. And the guys from the other side would try and get even. Died for this truth in the way that I can speak it. Died cause they know they power lie and keep it secrets. Died cause the shit they feed us should've been a vegan. Died cause instead of moving out I played defense. Died from a straight shot and I stopped breathing. Died cause I'm trying to change how my niggas thinking. Died cause somebody's girlfriend started winking. But died cause my dog flawed and I couldn't peep. I heard the streets screaming murder. I think they all trying to murder me. I heard the streets screaming murder. I think they all trying to murder me. But I won't break and I won't fold. On my crown, nigga, I'm gon' roll. Fuck my foes, never sell my soul. I hold it down 2 feet 10 toes until they murder me. I heard the streets screaming murder.
I don't in any way encourage black people to go out and initiate acts of aggression indiscriminately against whites. But I do believe that the black man in the United States and any human being, anywhere, is well within his right to do whatever is necessary, by any means necessary, to protect his life and property, especially in a country where the federal government itself has proven that it is either unable or unwilling to protect the lives and property of those human beings.
We back. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. If you don't know, this is For the Culture, coming to y'all live on Talk of the Streets Radio, sponsored by Emoji Nation. Prophetess, how you feel about today's show, man? What you think?
What's going on, family? It's the Prophetess Queen X, a.k.a. Lady CEO. And listen, I've been listening to the whole entire show, behind the scenes and everything. And so what I have to say to both of you kings is that this is some amazing information. And for you out there who are listening, okay, I hope that you are doing more than just hearing us and what we have to say on this network, for the culture and particularly. This is ammunition for your ass. You need to take it and put it into your safe. You need to put it and use it. Store it so you can use it later, because this information is information that they don't teach us in school. I haven't heard any of this information tonight or read it in any type of workbook, and I think that it's fundamental to our people. It's the information that's missing to connect the dots, because that's why a lot of shit don't make sense to us. You know, the things we are being taught is because of the things that have been left out. And the perspective that we have regarding these things are so tainted. And what you guys have talked about tonight is the missing pieces. It brings a lot of power to the truth, and it brings a lot of light to the dark. And so that's peace with me. I appreciate listening to you guys each and every Friday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Talk of the Street Entertainment Network.
That's right. Okay, Queen. We appreciate that, man. And for the people, man, we do it for the people so the people can do it for themselves, man. We hope y'all taking this in. Y'all empowered. You know, we speaking truth to power, and we can do something. I think I'm going to steal that tagline, ammunition for your ass. That's my new thing. Just the ammunition for your ass. You hear me? We might put a couple slugs in somebody else's ass. They don't act right. But,
oh, God.
Yeah, all right. I love doing too much. But look, we gonna wrap the show up, man. We hope y'all enjoy. Y'all had a good time. Y'all learned something. Y'all take something with y'all that can change. You can use to change your life, man. Move out in harmony, move out in unity for power, peace, and protection. Peace.
Is still within me. My heartbeat sound like feet marching. Call it lawless, but it don't offend me. Cause y'all rule just more tools to set against me. Feel me? Hey, Pickett, it's not Kermit. I'm never green enough to love you, but a leapfrog over every hurdle that you put in front me. And you can't trick me with your money. I'm forever underground on these tracks like Tubman. Who with me? I'm just a no good cotton picking. Where is Eli Whitney? Should've never let me learn history. I set fire to this until it burned crispy. So never forgetting it. I'm out the mud, know they gotta dig me. There's holes in your story. Why you trying to trick me? All them boys in the hood, they wanna set you against me. So when I turn my back, y'all can do me like Ricky. They wanna hear about Prada, Gucci, and Fendi, but my soul's done grew. Them shoes don't quite fit me. I ain't dissing Chuck Lorre, but if I had wrote the story, Lil in the Big Bangin', cause he never saw a penny. It is not no theory, the conspiracy is real. These crackers plotting on to kill, to prevent the rise of those that's qualified to heal and unify. Every tribe think it's time we build. They be talking about it. Can't swim, but I pull this money, bet you dive on in. I create the wave, Black Poseidon, and give birth to gods. Black is Titan, and I know that's so frightening to those with white skin. I know you wanna separate us like a hyphen, but my friends, if you would see what I say, it's like we Skyping. These crackers fed as pigs and tripe, this is trifling. Say you are what you eat, now we all in the pen, undeveloped men, baby boy, calling home a crib, calling home a counterfeit. Socrates was a bitch, Aristotle plagiarist, who the they playing with? No, I probably shouldn't say that. Money, cars, and clothes I'm more safer with. Yeah. But I ain't come to be your favorite. Slave minded, talking chains and whips, basic self-hatred statements. But your ego trips and other shit is coming out my brother lips. But don't you call this no diss, cause them my brothers, I still love them. You up, you with them. Melody is melanin, but shout out to Eminem, cause if you do not fight this system, then you cool with how it is. And that mean you racist, no matter shade or tint. I'm not anti-white, I'm anti-devil schmitz. You better use your common sense. See, they cover up your history like it do not exist. Cause once we've been convinced of our own inferiority, it naturally prevents us to rise up again.
Although COINTELPRO began its operational life by targeting first the Communist Party, then the Socialist Workers' Party, and other such time-honored targets, it rapidly shifted emphasis with the rise of the civil rights movement during the early 1960s. Shortly, we find Hoover returning to his Marcus Garvey theme, stipulating in an internal memorandum circulated to 23 field offices that a primary objective of COINTELPRO should be to, quote, prevent the rise of a black messiah, end quote. And he meant that in terms, as he spelled out, as being any individual capable of galvanizing the African-American population, politically. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Stokely Carmichael are named as individuals who might potentially have fulfilled this role. Agents were instructed to devise, again I'm quoting, imaginative, hard-hitting programs to neutralize these individuals and others like them. Malcolm X was assassinated soon thereafter, ostensibly as part of a factional dispute within the black Islamic community. A January 22nd, 1969 FBI memorandum, however, essentially takes credit for this outcome and goes on to suggest comparable operations be directed against other black nationalists. Dr. King was assassinated next under circumstances involving FBI complicity, at least to the extent of covering up by whom and how and why he was killed. And that's conclusion, not of a radical author or researcher out here, but of a professional.